The book is organized in kind of a mosaic form, some short sections, some longer sections. And the first section is called A Phone Call. We were wrestling on the bed when Evan fell off and landed on his head. I saw him go over, his feet and legs rising briefly in the air as he rolled backwards. Then he disappeared. There was an awful thud. I was on all fours. Oliver was sitting on my back. He didn't stop strangling me, but I stopped making my agonal death rattle. Evan gained his feet and shook his head like a wide receiver after getting clotheslined by a linebacker on a route across the middle. Evan was 4 years old, pale and skinny, his dirty blonde hair sprouting in all directions. That's enough, I said. We've got to stop. 2 days in a row was enough. Yesterday, Evan had fallen backwards off the other side of the bed, stopping inches from the floor, his body wedged between the bed and the wall, butt first, his ankles at his ears, like a breech baby deep in the birth canal. Oliver climbed off my back. He was 6. He was both the tallest and the youngest kid in his first grade class. Evan started to cry. He crawled back on the bed and into my lap. "No, Dad, please," he said. "I won't fall off anymore." Oliver left the room and came back a minute later with one of those squishy blue gel ice packs from the freezer. He put it on the top of his little brother's head and held it there. "Thanks, Oliver," Evan said. "He'll be fine in a minute, Dad," Oliver said. "It's going to be okay," he said to Evan. "All right," I said. "Positions!" Oliver shouted and tossed the ice pack on the floor. We have positions. I start on my hands and knees in the middle of the bed. Oliver sits on my back with his hands on my shoulders, bucking bronco style. Evan starts directly under my chest, on his back, with his palms on my cheeks. I'm not quite sure how these positions evolved. We have rules established through trial and error. No punching, slapping, kicking, stomping, tickling, biting, poking in the eyes, nose, or mouth. No shirts. Yanked shirt collars cause choking. No nakedness. Oliver and I wrestle in our shorts or jeans. Evan strips down to his Scooby-Doo underpants, which Oliver and I tolerate, though we would prefer he wears shorts or pants. Evan would prefer to wrestle naked, but Oliver and I will not allow it. In the past year, Oliver has discovered modesty. He wants privacy, going to the bathroom and changing his clothes. I respect this. It's refreshing. Our house is small, 1,100 square feet. We have only one bathroom. Christine thinks it's perfectly reasonable to floss nakedly while I wipe my ass. I've made it clear to Oliver that I consider him an ally. It does not help that one of the great joys of Evan's life is to take off all his clothes and race around the house the moment we arrive home. We were still in our start positions when the phone rang. Usually I say, "Ready, set, go." But Oliver treated the first ring of the phone as a starting gun, spurring my ribs with his bony heels. I twisted sideways, flipped him onto his back, and squashed him like a bug with my chest. The air went whoosh out of his lungs. Christine came in the bedroom with a worried look on her face. "It's your mom," she said. "She's really upset." This was not good. My mother is a stoic Nevadan. Her hero is John Wayne. Really. There is a poster of the young Duke in her office, a 3-foot-high close-up of his face. He's wearing a white 10-gallon cowboy hat. I can count on 2 hands the number of times she's mentioned the word bipolar, a disorder she suffered from since she was a teenager. She treated her stage 3C ovarian cancer, the surgery that removed her uterus, much of her bladder and colon, and the 8 rounds of chemotherapy that followed, like a series of unpleasant dental procedures. Oliver grabbed my throat. Evan poked his finger up my nose. I stood up and the boys fell off me, back on the bed, shouting protests. I took the phone into the guest bedroom. I thought then that my mother's cancer had come back, or that my cousin Molly's breast cancer had come back, or my grandmother, my father's mother, had died. She was 88, frail and declining, had Alzheimer's, and lived in a nursing home in Georgia. "Mom," I said, "what is it?" "Your father tried to kill himself."